I'm gonna do a two-parter here with the Rue Morgue. So let's go into the rest of it. Obviously, the Clive Barker thing was a big thing, and like I said, I would say he was talented. And I will add one more thing about Clive. You know what? I'm sure it's mentioned. I know there's a huge, like $50 book, but the book is pretty thick, right? About Clive and all his work. I wonder what's his opinion of Francis Bacon. Francis Bacon's art definitely. I just that guy came up with art that there was no precedent for, and I always wonder what Clive, if he was influenced by Francis Bacon. Of course, the one famous painting that you have in the Museum of Modern Art. Uh, but going to the opposite, we're going to this film now. Chris Jericho is another horror film uh, where he's playing but it's weird. It takes place in the '80s. They don't. It doesn't look like the '80s to me with these people here. So, of course, the heroine is this woman here, who, interestingly enough, is she's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu champion. So I mean, you can say she's a real grappler, but of course, if you know anything about Chris Jericho, right? Not only the guys in Japan he was with, Guerrero, Malenko, Benoit. Remember Benoit? They're gonna erase him, right? Regardless what happened. He was a Stu Hart guy, right? Those guys, these are wrestlers. They all knew the catch stuff, right? And the Japanese, like the old judo, the stuff that the Brazilians were sort of applying more and more. The old, the renegade judo guys, right? The Kano did, sort of throughout, like Maeda. You had all these guys that, I mean, obviously, most wrestlers, I mean, if you ever see them, they're huge guys that would whip the crap out of the average person. But these guys knew the techniques, the real stuff that would cripple you, mess you up. So you have the back behind the stage. Goldberg rushed Jericho, right? And Jericho put him in a front face lock, okay, which is a neck crank. And this asshole jock, amongst other things, football player, had no idea what was happening other than his neck. The pressure on his neck was increasing, and Jericho put him in that. So anyway. It's just interesting. This film. He plays like a guy doing some kind of wrestling tournament for the devil or something. Whatever. It's interesting. Obviously, I was a wrestling fan back in the day. Not so much now, but I do remember the classic stuff. And so it'd be interesting. And we go to the Lucha Libre. I'm the guy that always puts up Mexican horror. Santo versus the Vampire Women is such an awesome film. The action, the skill, the gothic atmosphere, mixed with these crazy luchadors just fighting everybody, man. So it was interesting. And you can never watch enough Lucha Libre stuff. Oh, Alice, man. Dude, fuck Alice. This guy is still kicking out there, man. Always Alice Cooper fan. This guy is like probably he's definitely in his 70s, and he's still out there rocking, man. So we'll finish this up. We'll go through everything here. Rest in peace. Yeah, 2024. And actually, now I've seen a few things here in a violent nature. I haven't gone over this film. This is a great movie. Of course, Terrifier 3. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh. And I said, this thing looks interesting. I saw the TV glow. Seems interesting. Just from the title. A few other things here. What is it? Best music reissue $1 billion Babies. $1 trillion deluxe edition from Rhino Records. What is that? I love Alice Cooper. The original band, but like even the solo stuff, but $1 trillion deluxe edition. I wonder what is on there. So, one of the best albums ever made, $1 billion Babies. Long Legs, I still haven't seen Silent Hill 2 remake. What is that? Anyway, we're going through stuff here. What else we got here? Robert Eggers' most welcome comeback. More on that later. Actually, look, best ongoing comic series, Conan the Barbarian. Man, Conan goes through so many licenses, doesn't he? Titan Comics. That's the British company. I don't like how they dealt with Robotech, but Conan, I hear a lot of good things about this from like the post Comic Gate guys. All right, let's go through The Damned. I'm hearing a lot of good stuff about this film. Another historical horror film taking place in Iceland. I want to check this out. I'm hearing good things about this. Of course, this film. Of course, Eggers. I'm gonna see this film in a couple of days in Brooklyn. Yeah, with my oldest friend. So I'll let you know what I think about it, man. But so far, I've been very impressed with Eggers. With his Replicator. It's a man's world, and often cruel, abusive men. You know, it's written by a man. Feminism, Lovecraft, and body horror. Every time I hear body horror, I go, like folk horror. Like, wow, this is a fake, made up term for films by journalists. You know, so I usually don't think much of it, but you know, I'm not gonna see this. It's a man's world. That's right. Don't you know the world was ours? We never fucking we get everything. I can't wait to just be given everything and laugh at how easy everything is for me. Anyway. Oh, Fogfest. What is this? Newfoundland and Labrador. Wow, Labrador, man, that's getting there. Can imagine, you know, I always wonder what these parts of Canada, how they're doing, like the rest of the world. These are not wealthy areas, but. Anyway, oh man, Captain, look at this. Okay, so listen, yours truly, I'm gonna get a Blu-ray player probably in a week or two. But we're already on this 4K stuff, and man, look at these things, man. I don't know how much this retails for. It's a lot, but there's a lot of stuff in it, and it's interesting. For one of my favorite films, 70s. I'm always a champion for 70s Hammer. Everyone says 70s Hammer. The last decade, the movies suck. There's so many great movies in the 70s from Hammer that I can't ascribe to that. And it's cool. This box comes with a 100-page reprint of the Captain Kronos comics adaptations from House of Hammer, their comic magazine, right? Captain Kronos was meant to be a whole series with this character. They only made the one film, but I guess the ideas they had became these comics. That's cool. That's pretty cool. Of course, Captain Kronos, a film that I would argue is very influenced by Robert E. Howard, particularly Solomon Kane, and a film that also, like Solomon Kane, influenced, of course, Vampire Hunter D, the amazing anime novel series. But the film itself, man, I like what they say here to sum it up. Right, it's a English Western, just like Witchfinder General. Horror film, the people that know, Witchfinder General is essentially a Western, okay, except it takes place in England during the English Civil War. Same could be said for Captain Kronos. Okay, and with the Hunchback as a brilliant assistant. Okay, going against type, of course, Captain Kronos, the German, with the small sword and a katana, and he smokes weed. Also, never mentioned too much is the guest spot by Ian Hendry, a great British actor, as a bully boy in the tavern who gets dealt with by Captain Kronos. But I love this film. This is an amazing film. It's horror film. It's an action film. We'll go through this. Oh, like this. This guy's always like, oh, he always in this part of the page he mentions that, oh, false political claims of pet eating before the U.S. election. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. I don't care. Yeah. Just but now HB1 visas. Now don't do it. Because horror comics are useless. Two genres that should go well together, but don't. Well, except for this was interesting. I saw this Frankenstein, basically Frankenstein being retold with Boris Karloff's likeness. Of course, he has long hair, as the creature did in the Mary Shelley novel. I hope Karloff's daughter is getting some money from this. I like that. I like that, starring Boris Karloff. The IP, what Bela Lugosi's son fought for. I like that. I like that. Right. I like seeing that. We go to the books. What is this? The letters of H.P. Lovecraft and Frank Belknap Long. Okay, of course, Saint Joshi. Right? What is this? At his lowest, we find his politically incorrect, New York-inspired rants. There's no other thing. There's no other way, bro. So, fucking, you're gonna miss us when we're gone. And we ain't politically incorrect. Of course, this is interesting when he talks about when his mother died, right? Yeah, so, I mean, Jesus Christ. How do I feel about that? Arkham, I'd ask you, right, if you watch this. Look at he has so many letters and they're reprinted in volumes upon volumes. Do you feel like maybe we're intruding on his private thoughts, that maybe like we shouldn't be doing this, like voyeurism? Or it doesn't matter because he's dead? Or what would he think? That would be an interesting video idea, wouldn't it? So yeah, the rest of the kind of nothing really interesting here. Oh, the terror of teenage motherhood. I know. Well, I'm not even gonna get into all that. I think it's interesting too. I noticed that they're reviewing more stuff. Afterlife, right? It's basically a paranormal investigator action thing. It actually sounds pretty interesting. It's self-published. They're starting to do self-published stuff. I think that's great. DIY. And speaking of that, in terms of always mention the music, there's always something interesting. Zoltergeist, right? Independent. I looked for this on YouTube, couldn't find it. Found it on Bandcamp. If you want to look this up, that's pretty independent. Like he mentions, if you can make a field recording of the black patch of goop from Stephen King's The Raft, it might sound like this. That already sounds like a great. It's a recommendation, but go further on and you see that. Certainly a mix of very primitive punk rock, black metal, a healthy dose of Halloween synths, programmed drums, an overhaul Samhain swing, right? Written and recorded in just 3 days by this guy, Dirk Butcher, drummer synth player for some other band you probably never heard of. Zoltergeist is far too rough and DIY to be taken seriously. Well, I actually listened to this. I thought it was great. Okay. Oh, you would, because you look at your crap music. Whatever, son. That's it to me. It's I checked it out because of that. It's a recommendation. So, what is the rest of this stuff? Yeah, it's interesting. 200 Stab Wounds. That's an interesting name for a band. And that is the latest Rue Morgue. This is interesting. Wow. Best indelible character. This is interesting. Candyman. Candyman was great. With my hook for a head, I'll split you from your groin to your gullet. Remember that scene when he stabs the psychiatrist? That was a good scene. That's what it sounds like when the guy's actually stabbing somebody. Right? And of course, another guy, Dr. Decker, right? From Nightbreed. Good. This is pretty good. Alright. I think I've regaled you enough with the Rue Morgue. But you know what? I guess Rue Morgue is starting to grow on me again. Can we go back to 20-something years ago when it was really fucking good? We shall see. Come on, Andrea. Can you do this? Can you make it happen?